Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Minding My Mental Health. I am Tanitria Williams, licensed professional counselor and your host for Minding My Mental Health. Thank you so much for joining. I am so honored and excited to have our guest, Miss Ebony Wyatt. And we are going to talk about minding my mental health, but from a corporate perspective. How do you deal with having a healthy mindset while you are working in corporate America? We understand that life can get really stressful and things can get tough. And so we brought in someone that I consider an expert and someone that I've known for a long time, and I consider her an amazing person. And I'm so honored that she would take time from her busy schedule to join us for Minding My Mental Health. So everyone, please give it up for Miss Ebony Wyatt. Thank you, Ebony.
Thank you, Tanitria.
Ebony, now I know some things about you because I went to college with you. Of course, like I said, I've been knowing you for a long time, but can you share with our visitors kind of where you work, kind of what you do and how you came to have that career path?
Yeah. So just a little bit about my background. So I'm from Fort Smith. I'm a first generation college graduate from the University of Arkansas. I majored in finance. And I thought I was on a path of going to law school. And then I took about 3 political science classes. And I was like, if law school is this, I'm not doing that. So the good news is I already had a business major. So I majored in finance. And I was probably 3 credits short of a political science minor. But I interned for General Mills when I was a junior in college at the University of Arkansas. And I did not know jobs like these existed. Right. And my worldview was very limited. I was from Fort Smith, a more industrial town. And so it was the first opportunity I got exposure that like jobs like these existed. And I really liked the work. I liked the people that I worked with. And look, I guess it's 23 years since I was an intern. I've been with the company. I'm in sales. And so my job is to ensure that I'm working with our customers, such as a Walmart or a Target or whatever retailer it might be, to ensure that our products are on the shelf and they're priced appropriately and all the things. So I am in a new role. So I'm vice president of sales strategy and strategic initiatives
congratulations.
Thank you. As of about 3 weeks ago. So super exciting, learning kind of a whole new skill set, but very excited for the work that I do and I'm getting to do now. So I work corporate full time. I live in Minneapolis, but I also have a side business where I teach badass workshops to badass women who want to elevate their career. And I started that during the pandemic. And so a lot of my story is kind of intertwined to doing all those things. So I've been doing that for about 5 years. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids, 7, 10, and 13. I'm married. We have dual career situations that we're managing. Thankfully, my husband's job is more flexible and provides my family a ton of flexibility. So that's a little bit about, me and more the corporate side of things and all the things I do. I'd say the last thing outside of having a family is I really enjoy giving back to the community. Mm-hmm. So finding time and space to lead within the community, to serve the community, all those things are important to me too. So that's just a little bit about me and my background.
Again, thank you so much. I know it is I say just and not to minimize at all, but being a mom of 3 is a full-time job.
Full-time job.
It is a full-time job plus working, being a wife. Again, all of these things are full-time job. Yeah. How are you managing that balance between all of those things, plus giving back to your community?
Yeah. It's so interesting. I was having a conversation with some people at work about this yesterday. When you talk about balance and everybody's like, how do you juggle it all? And everybody's got to have a different mindset, but I'll tell you about my mindset. Mine is you have to be willing to take control, period, of your life, of your schedule, the things you don't like, the things that you do like. You have to be willing to have that confidence. And a lot of people don't. So depending on who I'm talking to, I'm like, I can't really give you advice because you're not equipped to take the advice that I'm going to give you. Or we're operating from 2 very different places. So number one, you got to be willing to take control. You have to have the confidence to take control of your life in terms of how you balance. The second piece of that is you have to be willing to say no.
Yes.
No is full sentence, right? And there's sometimes it's just a no, and other times it's no with an explanation, or other times it's no, but I'll find somebody who can help you with this.
Mm-hmm.
But if it doesn't fit into my value set, the things I'm interested in, the things that give me energy, it's a no.
Yeah.
Right. The second piece, and I know this looks different for everybody, but it's around getting help. Some people can afford to outsource for things that they don't enjoy. And I understand that that's a privilege that we have. Right. But some folks are in a privileged situation to be around family, and a family that wants to be helpful and wants to help out. And so, taking advantage of that. And then I have 3 little people in my house, and everybody has to do their part. From the 7-year-old to the 13-year-old, like everybody plays a part in helping maintain our household. And so if I think about balance, those are the things that are critical for me. One last thing for me, and I don't feel like we have this conversation enough, is around your partner. Like your partner can make or break your balance, where you're trying to be, where you're trying to go. And so I'm grateful to have a husband who is like all in for me and these kids, period.
That's right? Huge.
And I know everybody doesn't have that same liberty either. And so I am, when you're young, you don't know all the things you should be looking for. And sometimes you don't even figure it out until you're into it, right? Yes. But I am just so grateful that I have a partner, and we texting all day long. What's going on with these kids? Hey, did you sign them up? You want me to sign them up? Hey, can you pick them up? I'm picking them up. It's just a partnership. And sometimes I'm leaned in, sometimes he's leaned in. But when I talk about balance, it's all those things for me. Yeah. It's the confidence to take control. It's the willingness to say no. It's taking the help. Outsourcing if you need to, right? I remember when my kids were little, and now they're big enough to where 2 out of the 3 do their own laundry. But laundry was such a source of stress for me when they were little. And so I hired it out. I had a college student come in once a week, and she'd do laundry for 3-4 hours, do her homework, and that's all I needed her to do. That was something that really stressed me out. For other people, it might be mopping your floors or whatever it might be, or you need a date night once a week. You got to take control, find you a solution. And now these kids are big enough. Guess what? Tuesdays,
I know that's right.
Laundry. Thursdays, this one doing the laundry. And I got to remember, baby sis is 7. Like, bring your laundry basket down. I will do the laundry. I will fold it, but you got to put it away. But as I think about balance, like it's always a tipping scale. It's never perfect. And I take it day by day. And some years we're full balance, where things are going well and life is great. And other years life is hard and we battling all the things. And I've also learned to sit in those years of growth, and where everything is cool and normal and nothing's chaotic and crazy, and to be like, thank you, God, for that, Yeah. So that's a little bit of how I think about balance, how I try to stay balanced, and leveraging my resources in addition to the folks in my family to do their part.
No, I think that's awesome. What I heard was I set boundaries for myself. I utilize my support system, whether that is a created support system as far as me paying, or if that is a built-in support system with my family. But utilizing all of that. You mentioned something that was really good, the confidence to take ownership of that schedule. Where did that for you come from? Where did you, or how did you develop that confidence to really take charge?
Yeah. Who knows? I think the root of it is from my grandmother. So I was raised by a single grandmother, and I saw her do it all, but I also saw her make some of these same choices. Like, I can't do that. I can do this. Her sister lived across the street. They worked as a partnership in taking care of me and raising me. And they truly were like a great partnership. One was super financially savvy. One kind of was the heart and soul of the operation. So they really leverage each other's strengths. And so I honestly saw my grandmother making good choices, even in a constrained environment, even with low financial resource, even without a spouse. Like, my great aunt was her partner in helping to raise me, and they had a strong partnership. And I even think about one of the deacons from the church would pick me up some Sundays and take me to Sunday school because my grandmother had to make a choice to rest some Sundays because she worked a really hard job. And so I'm grateful for having her as a role model to show me like you can do a lot of things, but you also have to choose to say no to some things that don't bring you joy.
I love that you said that, Ebony, because you see so many times we see the opposite where we look at our grandmothers or great aunts or whoever, and they gave and gave and gave, and they never established the boundaries. They never said enough is enough. I need help. And so to have such a powerful role model is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And again, I love the fact that you are incorporating all of those lessons from. She recognized rest was important. She recognized using my village is important. And as a result, she was able to preserve, herself in some ways and then raise an amazing person as well. Now, what I want to ask you is, what are some things, whether that's mindset or financial, anything, what were some struggles that you had to overcome to get to where you are, and how did you do that?
Oh, that's a great question. I think some of the things I've had to overcome, let's start with mindset. That was probably my biggest thing to overcome is I started in this corporate space. Nobody in my family had done this type of work. So I didn't really have anybody to lean on personally, right? And so for the first few years, I struggled with not feeling like I belonged there. Feeling like I had to hide and pretend to be somebody else that I wasn't, because I was just uncomfortable being a young woman of color that didn't have role models in that space. And so for years, I was kind of hiding, even though I stuck out like a sore thumb because I looked different, right? I sounded different. I have a Southern accent. I live in Minnesota. One of these things is not like the other. And I sound very different. Even I remember moving to Minnesota and coming into meetings, and I was like, time out, guys, before we start. My name is Ebony. I'm from Arkansas, and I do have an accent. Let's just get that out of the way because everybody be like, oh my God, where are you from? Like, yes. But for me, it was mindset of feeling like I didn't belong. And it probably took me a solid 8 to 10 years to say, well, wait a minute, let me flip this on its head. I do look different. I do sound different. If I'm going to stick out, I might as well make it count and not try to hide. I might as well lean into the brand of Ebony. And guess what? I've been working here all this time. I continue to have success. What am I afraid of? Oh, and guess what? People look up to me, and I want to make sure that I'm sending the right signals to them. And so it was time to be done hiding. So I'd say that was probably my biggest shift that I had to make was around mindset. And I believe that today. So I'm very confident. I know I belong. I know I add value here. And my job now is to make sure that the younger version of me, those Ebonies that are walking in that door, see me, know that they belong here. I have that conversation with them the first day they come here. You belong here. We chose you to be here. Act like it. Right. And so I am so grateful that it took some time to get there. And part of it was like learning the environment, understand like what I'm operating in, understanding I can be successful in this environment. And then I had to stop hiding and just be like authentic to who I was. That was a journey. And I think a lot of first generation people of color hit that phase where it's like, ooh, do I belong here? Oh my goodness, I'm the only one. I'm the only this. And now I don't look at it that way. It's just like, I might be the only, but I'm going to leave it better than I found it. My hope is if somebody has an experience with somebody like me for the first time, that it is a positive experience and it helps to reframe if they have some bias within them to say, oh, man, So I'm trying to set the standard, to be frank. So I went from being afraid and hiding to like being the person who is trying to set a standard for somebody who may not have interacted with somebody like me.
In those moments of being the only one, did you feel a sense of pressure to represent, or how did you deal with that?
Absolutely. I mean, for a long time, I don't feel that same pressure anymore, but I still understand the responsibility, right? It's not a weight anymore. It's more pride. How do I show up and make my community proud versus it being a burden, something heavy to carry, right? And guess what? If I can do it, you can do it. So I don't see it as a burden anymore, but I did for a long time.
Yeah. If you don't mind, would you share some about some of the stressors that are unique to you as a woman in corporate America?
Yeah.
Like how you dealt with that?
Yeah. And I do think, I mean, as a woman of color, as a working mother, I mean, there's just so many
Right.
elements or so many, intersectionality of the stressors. But, there is a part of I want to be super career driven and be a great mom.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that balance of like, am I giving too much to work and not enough at home? Or vice versa. Hey, I got to leave this joint at 4:30 to go do X, Y, and Z for my kids. I hope that's okay, but I have to be like, it's a choice I choose to make. Being a woman in this space and like, I want to be strong, but I also want to be feminine, and for so long, women were so limited in some of these spaces that I think back to like some generations before, they were trying to assimilate. And I'm not trying to do that. Like I am a woman, I bring a woman's perspective, personality, traits, all of the above. And like the organization doesn't need me to be like somebody else.
Right.
Right. But there's a lot, and we do carry a lot, and it's still while we continue to see more women in leadership positions, there's still not enough of us. So there's still that pressure. Even if I try to avoid it, it's like, okay, it's 2 of us and it's 10 other people, and so it is still something that's constantly on my mind. But you know what? I look over and I'm like, it's me and her now versus just a long time ago, it used to be one. Or there's 5 of us in the room now. So are we still making progress? Yes. I think representation is super important. And the higher you get, the more stressful the jobs are. Right? Our shareholders, our employees are counting on us to make good decisions. And sometimes it's hard to turn that off when you walk in the door at home.
Yeah.
Right. And
talk about that. How do you, or when you don't, what happens? Like talk about that blending of boss and wife, or boss and mom, and all of that.
I mean, it's those stressful times, you don't miss them, right? When the business is tough, or when something didn't go your way, or negotiation broke down, like those are tough moments that sometimes you carry some of that stuff home. Right. And then other times, like my kids, I was looking through my kiddos' papers from this last year. And one of them just had like what they want to be when they grow up. Now, Camille, my 7-year-old, she always has said, I want to work at General Mills like mom. But my middle one is always, I want to be a basketball player. I'm like, okay, cool. We need to have a backup plan, but okay. But on this little thing, he had a little piece of paper that said basketball player or work at General Mills. And so I'm like, okay, what I'm doing, there's something positive there. That they want to emulate enough to say, I want to do that too. So that also reminds me of like, I'm bringing a decent balance, like, and sometimes I get out of whack.
Yeah.
But just grateful that my kids see where I work as a positive, and they want to do some of that same work. And so that makes me really proud. And it is a trigger, or it's a indicator, probably indicator is a better word, that I'm doing something right.
No, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people's children who actually resent where they work because they feel like it's either constantly taking their parents away or something of that nature. So the fact that your children see this as positive, definitely you are doing something right. Tell me, Ebony, how do you feel like, well, actually, before I ask that question, I want to go back to something you were talking about, women's voices. Do you think that our voice is, because at one point, I actually had this conversation with my husband yesterday about women being taught just play nice and not being taught to be assertive and speak up. And he said, well, I feel like that's changing. That was more in the past. Tell me, in the corporate space, do you see that changing? as far as, and not necessarily for your company, just in general, do you see that as women's voices are being appreciated more? And if so, how do you see that?
Yeah, I definitely think just women are more free today than they've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I do feel like folks are leaning into their power.
Mm-hmm.
And they have enough role models now that even when they're afraid, we're giving them permission to lean into it.
Yeah.
We're giving them the encouragement before they walk in the room or before they make that big presentation. Even for me, it's been interesting because I interact in my old job. I had a lot of customers. So I got to sit across from the table from lots of women who may have not been the leader within their company, but I was the leader they got to look at, and I didn't work for their company. And so I also started to appreciate, like, I'm not just a leader at my company, but I'm a leader for these women at another company.
Right.
Right. And how do I elevate their voices too? They're my partners in this. And how do she's trying to break in and maybe she doesn't feel confident. Hey, Jen, did you have something you wanted to add to the conversation? Like, how do I create the space in the conversation for them? But I do feel like it's improving. Every company, I think everybody's on a different journey, but I definitely at my company, I feel like our voices are heard, and I just see women leading. We got a fierce kind of C-suite with plenty of women there. So like I can look up and see visible leaders doing great things. And so I think every organization is different, but I'm grateful that I have representation where I can look up and say, yep, they made it. I can too. They're strong and fierce. I can be strong and fierce too, but I can also be soft and empathetic when I need to be.
Yeah. I actually love that. Yeah. The fact that you're saying, I'm not trying to be a man in this space.
Yes. No.
I'm bringing my femininity. I'm bringing my whole self to this, which is what makes it so beautiful. That is the beauty of being able to be authentic in who you are. So I love that. Tell me how you feel like you've grown from the college student who started as an intern to the boss that you are today. How have you grown?
I mean, I've grown a ton. But I also want to remind folks, so I teach a personal branding class. And one of the things that I always remind people is that there's some of these things in you that are innate to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a leader then, I'm a leader today. I could drive followership then, I can drive followership today. I had energy and I was a source of fun, and I still am that today. And I just remind folks out there, because sometimes we feel like we got to do all these new things. And part of it is just leverage what you're good at now, right now. And it'll refine, right? I didn't know it was called followership back then. I just knew I could get people to follow behind me when I was a leader, right? Mm-hmm. And so I just encourage folks not to ever lose sight of what got you there. And so I always try to hold true to, like, I've been the same person for a long time. I'm refined now, more refined. And I've gotten a ton more opportunities and exposure and training and development and coaching and all the things. But today I think I'm more thoughtful. I think about others more than I think about myself. I'm trying to be a better listener. I'm still on a journey and trying not to cut my kids off when they're trying to come back.
Same struggle.
But a lot of who I am is just an intensification of who I was. And more a confident version of who I was.
Yeah. So what I hear is I was authentic then, and I remained authentic through my journey. I've just grown in that authenticity.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I've started, like, I know my strengths today, and I'm leaning into those. Mm-hmm. Whereas before I was just kind of operating in those, and but I know the things that are super unique about me and how I might be different on the leadership team versus a peer, what I bring that's extra special. Like, now I'm thinking about those things and I'm leaning into them. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes we discount those things. Like, Like even one of the things for me is energy. And I'm just like, that's just who I am. But not everybody has a good level of energy. Not everybody can draw people to them. And so it's been interesting to even get some of that feedback as a adult to say, oh, I didn't know that was differential, right? I just thought that's just who I am, right? But it's differential. So I just encourage folks that might be trying to think through, like, who am I? What does my brand represent? It's like, you ain't got to look too far. You know, who is the high school version of you and the college version of you probably aren't that different. They're just now intensified, right?
Yeah.
And I think it helps people to be more clear on what their strengths are.
Yeah. I think it also helps with decreasing the imposter syndrome, just being who you are.
Yes.
You don't have to try to pretend.
No.
It's just, like you said, there may be some refinement along the journey, but there is no pretending of, oh, no, this is authentically who I was for me in Bearden, Arkansas, who I was in Fayetteville, Arkansas, you know, and all of those different stages of life. This is who I am. And thankfully we get to grow and become sharper, or like you said, more refined, but ultimately we're still walking in who we were created to be.
And authenticity is on a spectrum. That's where I don't think we talk about it enough.
Yeah.
People assume you have to be one way all the time. Absolutely not.
Right.
The way I show at church versus in the corporate space versus with my children, it's all me. It's just a different version of me, right? It's like the softer me might show up, the stronger me, the businesswoman me. And I think sometimes, especially people of color and Black people, tend to feel like they can't use that range. I'm like, absolutely, you can use that range of who you are. And that doesn't make you inauthentic.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I have been trying to, you got to mature into your authenticity, especially in a corporate space or in a professional space. And so I think that's important. I think you've got to, like, you can't come let it all hang out because you don't know the environment you're operating.
Right. Wisdom.
In the environment first, have that wisdom, and then be mindful of how you show up on that spectrum of your authenticity.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's really good. Now, again, talking about all of this stuff mentally, like you talked about the stress of sometimes with work, it could be very stressful. Just life in general, the society that we live in brings a layer of stress. How do you stay, or what do you do to stay in a mentally healthy space?
Ooh, yes. Number one, I work out. And it's so interesting. I used to have this trainer, and he would tell me all these things, and I was just like, whatever, you know. And he's like, Ebony, you get into the corporate space that you aspire to be into, like the level, like this is what they all do. And I was kind of like, whatever. Like, if you are working in a stressful environment or a high stress lifestyle, whatever that might be, you have to have ways to release that stress. And working out is a key part of it for me. My me time, it is the time I work out in the morning. So before everybody else gets up, I'm on doing my workout, headed back home. So that's really important. And I see, like, that's part of the lifestyle of corporate, right? Or of a working professional. The second thing is I go to therapy every 2 weeks, whether I need to not. Right? And for me, it's a safe space to dump all my problems in somebody's lap. I don't need homework. Some people need homework from a therapist. I don't want homework. I don't need anything. I don't need an assignment. I just need a safe place to vent, drop it, and move on. And I'm grateful I've had the same therapist for a long time. And she's a white woman. And, you know, there's this whole thing, but she has really taken the time to really understand me. She wants to dig deeper. And she is just like, thank you. Like, because I'm real. I'm like, if you're going to be my therapist, you got to take all of me. You got to understand the nuance of being a Black woman. Like, here's the thing. Right. She has been so receptive. And she's like, you've helped me help my other clients because you are so open. I'm like, yep. Because I ain't here to fake in front. You know, this is my safe space. And I'm just grateful that I honestly started going because we were having some some stress issues in my family. So in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna go figure out how I can support this person in my family. It was for me. I said, oh, okay. I didn't realize. And I had a lot of childhood trauma that I've kind of just pushed down, and I thought I was okay. And it allowed me, sometimes they bubble up. I'm like, where'd this come from? And she makes me talk about it. I'm like, okay, I guess I didn't realize I had that wall up, girlfriend. And so for me, therapy is truly therapeutic if it's working the way it's supposed to. And I'm grateful, and I schedule it on my calendar just like everything else, 3:00 every other Thursday. And we rolling out here. And sometimes I'm grateful my person has virtual or in person, and we flip. Sometimes I flip at the last minute because my day is crazy and I need somebody that can flex with me. And so I'm grateful for that. And then just creating norms in your family that allow you, for that self-care. How do you take care of your mental health? Like I need to, even cooking, as much as it's a chore for some, it relaxes me. So I need to cook 2-3 days a week just for it's an opportunity to bring it down from the work.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I almost rather cut up onions and peppers because it just gives me a minute to decompress. And then Fridays we go to dinner as a family. That's like a source of joy. And the kids are like, where are we going? And we try to explore new places. And so I think there's some things that make a ton of sense from a mental health standpoint. But it's like, what is that joy, or what is that thing that brings you peace? So those are a few of mine.
What you said stood out to me when you said, I don't need homework. Because I have clients who come in and they say, I want homework. Yes. And some say, I don't. But what it shows me is that these people know what they need.
Yes.
It's not my job to tell you what you need to do or how you're supposed to live your life. You come in knowing the answer. And some people, like you said, some people need a space to just dump. Some people, like I said, some people need that homework and that kind of extra after hour stuff. And so the fact that you were so in tune to what you needed. And if there are people out there that say, well, I'm not as in tune, that's okay as well. You can come in and say, I don't actually know. Let's try some homework. Maybe not. But I love the fact that you recognize the things that help you and you make space and time for those things because they are how we handle our mental wellness. Your boundaries are a part of your mental wellness. And so again, I appreciate you recognizing that need. So what advice, Ebony, would you give with people who are in corporate America who may be struggling with some mental health stress or just mental health issues right now?
Yeah, I know a lot of companies have resources. So when I started, I've been going to therapy for, 8, 9, 10 years. But when I started, my company had a program that's like, you get 5 free sessions. And a lot of companies have those now.
EAP.
So I'm like, you got to go figure out what the name of your program is and start. And I just got online and put some keywords in, and boom, I found somebody sight unseen, and I just went. And it ended up being a good fit for me. But I recommend, like, if you're struggling, find you some support. And even if the therapist thing isn't working, find you a different one. It might not be the right fit. I think, 2, find you your safe spaces. So I'm grateful to have good friends in here that I can go vent to, that I know it's going to stay where I left it. And where I'm going to be supported, where I'm going to be encouraged, where I'm going to say, yep, you are valid in feeling that way. But you got to get the help that you need. And so, we've had a lot of different challenges in my own family. So that's allowed me to see even things like the power of medication. I used to be anti-medication because when I grew up, my mom was anti-medication. But I have a child who needs the medication. And so just grateful to be able to see, like, just because I didn't need it doesn't mean that my child doesn't need it. We've exposed our children to therapy. And I've got one that he'll be like, I'm good for now. And when he needs it again, he'll be like, I'm ready to find me a new therapist. Or I like that guy, let's go find him. Where we've struggled with our children is there's a lot of turnover with the therapist in that space. And I don't know if it's just need, or I don't know what's going on there. But I think also is, thinking through your own family. How are you showing them that like these things are healthy. Like I remember mentioning one day that I went to therapy, and the one that goes to therapy was like, "You go to therapy?" I was like, "Yeah." And so now I'll say it like, "Hey, I went to see my therapist today." So they know that's normal.
To normalize it, yeah.
Stigmatize it. But yeah, I mean, I'm grateful too. We have like a Facebook group with a bunch of the moms in it, and I see people, hey, I need support, I need help. How should I handle this? But just finding a space, even when it's anonymous.
Yeah.
I need help. I don't know where to start. Where would y'all start? Because everybody's dealing with something different. And even if you are healthy and mentally strong today, next year, next month could pose a new challenge.
Yes.
Right. And so, and know that like it's a roller coaster. There's going to be some really good times and really bad times. But make sure you find you some support and whatever that might look like, and be open to all the possibilities.
Mm-hmm. So again, I hear such a well-rounded person. Like I understand that life is not always going to be roses. I understand all of these things, right? And you've done such an amazing job, in my opinion, of keeping that balance and spending time with your children, having a healthy relationship with your husband. What advice would you give someone who just wants to come into corporate, maybe not having any mental health issues? They just go, I'm still in college. I aspire to go into the corporate space. What kind of feedback would you give them? And what would you say about protecting their mental health on that journey?
Ooh, that's loaded. Protecting mental health. Oh, please. Okay, so let's just say we're talking to the college student or the person who might be in one field and is aspiring to get kind of into a corporate space. One, you got to have done your part, right? Whether it's academics, whether it's getting the credentials, like you got to do your part. Because I get a lot of people wanting some help, and I look at that resume, I'm like, hey, we didn't even took care of the main thing, right? So like, make sure you're doing your part to develop competency. And when I say competency, that's taking care of your academics if you're a college student. That's exposing yourself to leadership opportunities. That's working a part-time job if you have the capacity to do that, right? And so building that capability, building those credentials that allow you to find a space. And then I'd say when you get in, you have to find you some mentors and find you a support system that can help you navigate that new space. Because we don't have to learn everything the hard way, right? Get somebody that can show you the shortcuts or teach you the unwritten rules of the space. This is how we communicate. We're very relational or whatever. Hey, when we present in a meeting, here's what that looks like. You know, some people stand up in front of a thing. We're typically not doing that. So I want you to be mindful of the norms in this environment. So find you somebody that can help you to navigate the corporate space. And then as you climb and get to a place of influence or impact, mentor somebody else. So pass that on back down. Like everything that somebody's given you, give to somebody else. And it's not that hard. I think the hard part is getting in somewhere. And if you take care of your part and you do the work and you deliver, like you can have a long career in your space. And so I'm grateful that I chose a good place to be and that I had great people supporting me, and I still do. And now I'm able to really lean into the things that bring me joy, even at work, whether it's supporting others or inspiring or whatever it might be. Because that's the other thing. Like the work is the baseline work is only going to fulfill you to some degree. You got to find those extras within the work or within the community or however else you got to find it to really fill your bucket. And for me, it's the people piece. It's like, how can I show up and support these people? And how can I help them to ensure their family is taken care of, that they're happy emotionally, that they know how to navigate some of these nuances of the space. So that's where I put my energy. That's where I get my joy at work. It's like, how can I help you? Right? Guess what? We're going to make the deals because that's kind of the foundation of what we do. But how we support the people is really important. And so making sure you find something within that space that truly fulfills you and keeps you coming back every day.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned something that I interviewed Keyshawn Robinson Henry.
Yeah.
I don't know, a couple of years ago. I've been doing this for a while. And she talked about from that corporate space as well. And one of the things that she's always teaching is the mentor piece and how important it is to have people that you can ask for help and wisdom. And I think people often forget that huge component of success is having the right mentors to teach you and to take you under their wing, but also your part as being a mentee is to listen to them and to learn from them and not push back, because they're actually there to help you. And like you said, once you've grown, like, who can I bring along with me? How can I give back the way that my mentor did? And so I see this theme with my corporate girlies who are basically saying, hey, we didn't get here alone. We had help, but also we're helping. And to me, that is such a powerful statement of brilliance, of community, Black girl magic, all of those things of I'm going to go further because someone's going to help me and I'm going to pull somebody else along with me. And so again, I appreciate you taking this time so much, Ebony, for again, this time, this insight. You gave a lot of nuggets, a lot of jewels. So I appreciate you. Everybody, please give it up for Ebony Wyatt, hometown or home state young woman, not hometown, but Arkansas often feels like
it's like a town, a big town.
But again, I'm so proud of your success. When I see you doing amazing things through social media, I'm like, yay, Ebony, keep going. I'm always praying for people and praying that you and your family continue in your success. Again, thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. Make sure you join us back here next Thursday, 12 o'clock. On Thursdays, we will be right here, Central Standard Time. Every episode, my goal is to bring awareness and tear down the stigma with mental health and learn ways that we can build our community from a mental perspective. So again, thank you, Ebony. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you join me back here next week, and you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Breaking misconceptions, fallacies, enigmas, building up the people, tearing down stigmas, clothed with a purpose. When life tries to wear on me, pray and read the word, but I still go to therapy. No matter your past or what you've been through, this is a space non-judgmental. We got some things to get into. I got my mind on my mental. No matter your past or what you've been through, this is a space non-judgmental. We got some things to get into.